Hello and welcome everyone to this video on Handling Errors and Exceptions by ZaranTech. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our ZaranTech YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to never miss any update from us.
So hey everyone, in this video we are going to understand the concept of handling error and exception in our ABAP programming. Now, what is exception? So exception is a problem that arises during execution of the program. It can be any problem, it can be a runtime error, or suppose if you are to divide a number by 0, then you will get some errors. So exception is what? Actually nothing but a problem that arises during execution of the program. Now, what is the purpose of exception class in SAP? So exception class is used to raise and handle the exception. And how do we handle these exceptions? We basically have a try block using which we raise our exceptions, and we have a catch block using which we handle our exceptions. And the exception class name must start with CX. So in ABAP, if you are going to create any class for handling errors and exception, that is, if you want to create any program, let me show to you. I will go to AC24 transaction code, and there you can see. If you are creating any custom class, then you will have to use Z syntax, and then after you will use CX. So CX is like a mandatory keyword which you must use before any exception class name. And CX root is the original global class for all the exceptions. So if you will create any class, CX root will be the global class, that is parent class for all the exceptions. We'll simply open this class so that we can understand it. I will go to AC24 and open CX root in display mode. Now see in its properties tab. This is our mainly the global and parent class which we will be using while implementing any program for exceptions. And our next topic is how many subclasses of this parent CX root class. So basically we have three main subclasses, and the first one is CX static check. Just go to AC24 and open it, CX static underscore check in display mode. Go to properties tab. You can see in the super class you will see CX underscore root. Now, what is the use of this class? So basically in this class for exception handling, the exception is checked by both the compiler and runtime system. Then we have CX dynamic check. Here the exception is only checked at the runtime, not at the compile time. Since this is a static one, so exception is checked both at the compile and the runtime. And the third one is CX no check, which in this particular class there is neither the compiler nor the runtime system is used to check the exception. We can simply go to these classes and see CX dynamic underscore check. Just open it in display mode. Go to properties. Again, you will see in super class we have CX underscore root. And we have one of the most important topic that we need to understand, that while creating any exception class, system by default provides CX underscore static check as the super class. Let me show to you. I will create any exception class. ZCX exception underscore class. I will open this. I will click on create button. Then I will select the exception class without messages. And in the description, I will provide exception class. Click on save button. Assign the package and transport request. Go to properties tab, and you can see in the super class there must be CX underscore static underscore checks. So this is one of the most important class, because in this class you will see the exception is being checked both at the runtime and the compile time as well. Now, how will you create an exception class for your requirement? So basically there are two ways to create a class. We just saw while creating the class, there was a checkbox. There was a checkbox to provide the message class or creating the exception without the message class. So in this particular class, I've created without the message class. I will simply going to take a requirement so that we can understand this concept. I'll go to this class, go to attributes tab. Or methods, your text, yeah. In the text tab, we can see there is an exception ID. So give any any text here. Suppose I'm giving, please enter the correct sales order number. Click on activate button. As soon as you click on activate button, in the attributes tab, you will see that particular attributes will have some initial value. Just copy this initial value. Just copy this initial value. And now how can we check this particular class that we have given a particular attribute, a particular text which we can use in any runtime error? So for that purpose, we have a dedicated function module, SOTR_get_text_key. I will simply copy this particular function module and I will go to SE37 transaction code. Paste here, click on execute button. There you will see we have a parameter called concept. So I'll simply pass this initial value there. So that we can check that our attribute, our text has been created or not. Copy this A1. A and 1. Click on execute. You will see in the export parameter of e_text, you will get your particular text that you have written there. So mainly this is how we perform testing of our exception classes. And so this is all about our exception class. Exception is a problem that mainly arises during the execution of program. Here we have CX_root as the global parent class for all the exceptions in SAP. And how do we handle our exceptions? We use try block to raise the exceptions and then we use catch block to handle our exceptions. We have mainly three subclasses of our CX_root, that is CX_static check, then we have CX_dynamic check, then we have CX_no check. And the important thing is that while creating any exception class, you will see CX_static check as the default super class for all our exception classes. And there are mainly two ways to create our exception class, using the message class or without using the message class. So this is all about our exception. Thank you very much.